came to Nigeria, there were some things about cooking in this country that really shocked me. Not in a bad way necessarily, but they were just so different. For example, oil. Why is there so much oil, especially in Yoruba food? I mean, I need to preface this by saying my boyfriend is Yoruba, I moved here for him, I cook a lot of Yoruba food. Therefore, maybe it's a Yoruba thing, I'm not sure. Maybe it's just a my boyfriend thing. But yeah, lots of oil. I feel like everything is fried, and when it's fried, it is fried. Like stew, or more. If stew is cooked with, like, it's like a bath of oil. You get a pot, you make a bath of oil, and then you bathe the pepper in there. And then when the pepper is suitably crispy, you put everything else in, and it is sweet. Don't get me wrong, it's so delicious. But like, it's a lot. It's no wonder I'm actually gaining a lot of weight here, which is something I've decided I need to put my foot down. Like, I love food. I love Nigerian food. To give you a bit more of a background about me, I was raised in Australia by a white family. White English family. And I don't think there is a generalization to be made about how English people use oil. I'm sure there are some people who use a lot. My family, we didn't. I would even go so far as to say that my parents were slightly scared of oil. I grew up on like really clean food, right? It's not greasy, very, very light food. And then even when I moved to Asia as a teenager on my own, I ended up in Vietnam, where a lot of the food is really, really light. A lot of fresh vegetables, not a lot of deep frying. And if you do deep fry, it's like one component. The rest of it will be boiled or steamed or like lightly pan-seared or something like that. So even in Vietnam, when I then learned Vietnamese cuisine, everything that I knew how to make didn't really require a bath of oil. However, coming to Nigeria, there's a lot of oil. I'm not trying to say it's a bad thing. It is a very different thing and something that like really stood out to me here. But you know what? There are so many other things. I have 8 other things about cooking and food in Nigeria that were like a slap in the face when I first came here, culture shock wise, but that I have adapted to and I either now love or I just kind of work around. I want to get into it. So number 1 is pepper. Before I came to Nigeria, if I was going to put pepper in food, even if it was like South Indian food, it's nice and spicy, I have never been taught to use pepper as like the basis of the food. It doesn't have its foundations in pepper. It's not grounded in pepper. It's kind of like you will build the food with other flavors and then you add pepper, lots of pepper, but you add it in afterwards to kind of enhance the flavor, to give it spice and heat. So, when I first started cooking Yoruba food, they don't just use pepper as a flavor enhancer. Pepper is king. Pepper is the basis of the food. Like, I kid you not, Yoruba stew, at least the kind that my boyfriend taught me how to make. You start with palm oil, a bath of palm oil, of course, and then you grind up. You literally, there's an industrial grade pepper blender in my house, and it's this big. You put pepper, you put tomato, but not too much tomato, and you put a little bit of onion, and then you blend it up into like a slightly textured you blend it until there's a little bit of texture, but it's like almost smooth, I guess. That is the basis of Yoruba stew. That is your stew. It's just bathed pepper, oil-bathed pepper. Of course, you will add crayfish, some Maggi or seasoning, stock cubes, whatever. You put some salt in there. Other people might put something else. I found this it's like smoked fish that if you put it into small pieces, it comes with the tail stuffed into its mouth. Anyway, I put that into small pieces and put it into the stew early on as well, so that flavor soaks in, and it's really tasty. It is so sweet. I love it. But yeah, pepper is king. Number 2, cow skin. What in the holy heck is that? Okay, I know what it is, the skin of a cow, but why? Why? I think this is the one thing in my list that I genuinely find disgusting, and it's because it has such a distinctively cowskin taste. It's like if somebody took rubber and then deliberately decided to cook with that rubber. And look, it's normal. We're different, okay? But for me, I'm not used to cowskin. I'm kind of curious about where it came from. Why did people start eating the skin of a cow? My boyfriend tells me that it's an economic thing, it's maybe not the most expensive part of the animal, and so people decided to eat that as a source of protein, and then it became a delicacy. I have a thing, meats, if it's really chewy or weird textures or kind of rubbery, for me, that's not a good thing. I noticed that in Vietnam, that is a good thing. And I've also noticed that at least with my boyfriend and with a lot of restaurants and street side places, that also seems to be a good thing. Textured meats, interesting meats. So hey, it's It's not my thing, but like it's the thing here. And on that note, why do so many dishes here require tons of different types of meat? It's like if you want to make egusi, you need to kill 3 different animals, you know? You need a fish in there, or maybe you need some different kind of crayfish in there, I don't know. You need some cow in there. Okay, maybe 3 was a bit excessive. 2 different kinds of animals, but still, that's a lot of meat. And it's like, this dish is in itself a luxurious dish because by its very nature, it's excessive in an amazing way. I actually think egusi is one of my favorites. It might even be my favorite food. And like eat it with eba. Ah, we need to talk about swallow. Swallow. Before I came to Nigeria, I had never had the blessing of trying swallow. And you know, coming here, it's a swallow wonderland. Like there's eba, there's amala, there's fufu, there's poundo, there's pounded yam. I'm sure there's so many more besides this, and I love it. So for anyone who isn't Nigerian, swallow is kind of like it's like cookie dough, except it's not at all like, it's not like cookie dough. It's okay, let me think about it. My favorite one is eba. If you've seen any of my shorts recently, you will have seen me call it the king of swallows, which is a contentious issue. But anyway, eba is made from gari, which is like a kind of flour made from roasted, often fermented and roasted cassava, which is then ground. It's delicious. There are some varieties there, but that's the basics. Then you will take gari, you will take boiling water, you will put gari in a bowl, you will pour the water, I stir, you then leave it and you let the gari soak in the water until it's soft. I like it when it's so sticky that like it can stick to your fingers unless you use some oil from the food, which is why the food is bathed in oil. Anyway, it's delicious. And before I set foot on Nigerian soil, I did not have the blessing and the honor of eating swallow. I'd never tried it before. And my goodness me, I'm so glad I have. I eat it often. I said my favorite was eba, and I love it because it's sour. But if I could make pounded yam, maybe that would be my favorite because it's fluffy, it's light, it's Anyway, swallow. I also need to talk to you about locust beans. I recently made a short video about locust beans, asking what in the heck they are. Because for me, I was like, okay, locust beans. I, for some reason, didn't look up what they actually were. I just took it for granted in my brain that someone had been farming locusts and like popping beans out of them. They don't even look like beans. And the reason is they are not beans. In fact, they don't even come from a locust. They come from the African locust bean tree. They're from a tree. I mean, come on, it makes sense. I was kind of stupid, but I thought I'd still share the video anyway. But anyway, locust beans. They're delicious, you know, like even if they do come out of locusts, which they obviously don't, I would still eat them because they're very yummy. They're kind of used, I think, as a flavor enhancer. For example, if you are making stew, you know when you make a bath of oil and then you bathe the pepper in the bath of oil, at that point you also put some locust beans in there so that it's all getting fried up together and the flavor profiles mixed and it's all yummy. Not something I had ever cooked with before, and I would be very curious to find out whether they're just a Nigerian thing, and I'm fully aware that I have Google at my fingertips and I could find out for myself. But please let me know in the comments, that would be very nice. Apparently they also have really high nutritional content, including protein and fat. So all in all, just really good stuff. And the final culture shocks, which I have copped quite a lot of flack for on TikTok, were about tea and coffee. So for me, if you're talking about tea, you're talking about you put water on leaves and let it sit, let the leaves soak in, and then you drink the flavored liquid that results. That's tea for me. However, in Nigeria, if you say I want some tea, people give you Milo or Mino. They call it Mino here, which is a whole other thing. The company advertises it as Milo in Nigeria. They advertise it as Milo in Australia, okay? I have this accent because of where I'm from. But anyway, if I ask for tea and I'm given Milo, I'm like, look, I'll take it, that's fine. Sweet chocolate drink over slightly leafy flavored water, I would take the sweet chocolate drink, which is maybe why I'm getting fat. But it's not, strictly speaking, as far as I'm aware, the Oxford Dictionary definition of tea. It doesn't matter, we all use English differently. And the final thing is a lack of coffee. So Nescafe is coffee, technically. It's instant coffee. It's like the McDonald's of coffee. It's like caffeinated dirt that you add water to and then it kind of loosely resembles coffee. I don't like it at all. And so if I ask someone for coffee and they say we have Nescafe, I'll be like, But I have a habit of drinking coffee. I lived in Vietnam for 10 years, and whether you are poor or wealthy in Vietnam, chances are you'll start your day with cafe, with coffee, because there's a culture for it there. And I mean, I was deeply spoiled. Vietnamese Vietnamese coffee, if you've ever tried it, is delicious. It's absolutely, I think it's the best kind of coffee all around the world, seriously. Vietnamese style coffee made with Vietnamese beans, Robusta, dark roast, sometimes roasted in butter or fish sauce or something else. Nigerians don't really drink coffee. I think there's not a culture for it here. Of course there are some people who do. You know, you can't paint everyone with the same brush, but as a general rule, the coffee culture in Nigeria is minimal. Anyway, I actually love this culture shock that I'm having, and I want more of it because it gives me an opportunity to learn and to discuss and to debate and to learn with people like, hey, our worlds, our contexts are so different. So in aid of that, let me know what else I should be experiencing here in Nigeria as an Oyibo Pepe who wants to learn. Please let me know in the comments. Hit subscribe if you like what you see, and as always, thanks, bye!